What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Secret Sundays. I don't know if this is actually a series yet, or if it just happened accidentally a couple of times on a Sunday. But here we are with Aaron Campbell, who is the producer for the Secret City Improv Festival in Tennessee, which I got to go see a couple of weekends ago. So if you were wondering, wait, what's going on? Why did Flicking the Skit not happen, for a couple of weeks? Everybody got a little panicked and scared, I'm sure. I was wildly missed across the entire internet. Um, because I was there at the festival and I had a fantastic time. So I was fortunate enough to be able to get some time with Mr. Campbell on a Sunday, and so rescheduled the day at the end. So hopefully this won't be the same for you, Aaron, that you're actually role playing They Die at the end. Someone may come along and expect to play a game as an improviser. I'm sure you would be down to jump in at any point. So. Uh, that was one of the things I did enjoy about the festival itself was improvisers getting to improvise with others. Um, so, but yeah, this is I'm sorry. Let me finish the introduction, of course, which is I was so excited about the festival. I'm Skip Marazi, your host and friend. This is a Secret Sundays episode, which is a behind the scenes podcast for Constant Space. This one is more related to the interests that I have, where my roots are, which is improvising. And I had not gotten to see an improv festival for a very long time. For me, they're very magical because what you get to see is weirdos from across a certain area, and they really did come from all over. They came from Tennessee, Ohio, Missouri. There was more in Alabama. Someone came from Oregon, Texas. There's a lot of people from Florida and Georgia. So it was just like you get to see these weirdos is the point that I'm getting at. Some people coming from Illinois that we get to see also. I think that was one of the farthest outside of Oregon. And they do this silly thing which is long form and short form improvisation. It's weirdos getting together and being silly. And for me, I hadn't gotten to see one in a really long time. The last one I had been at was in Chicago, and I was like at the event for like handling the door for a day. So I got to see all of the improv that happened on this one stage, but for like 12 hours, like the same thing that you guys did. So this one was fun because I just got to sit in the audience and just watch like 12 hours of improv, and then got to do it the next day too. There was 3 days, but I wasn't able to get there soon enough to make that happen. But man, it was fun. We were up to like 1 and 2 in the morning with shows both nights, and wow, what a fun time it was. Aaron, I know you're wrapped up in something. Again, just whenever you let me know whenever you're ready.
Oh, I'm good. I
Oh,
appreciate the introduction.
nice. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't. You said that it had like gone off, and so I wasn't sure if there was like one more thing you needed to do. But yeah. Um, so what are you just coming in from as your final, the last few minutes?
So on Sundays, I'm the program director at a small AM station. So
Okay.
I'm in our I'm in our control room studio, and I had the last show was going off that is live on
Oh,
the air.
going
So
off the air. I'm sorry. I got you now. Okay, understandable. Do you want to shout out the AM station, or is it just you would prefer it to remain anonymous?
WKXVradio.com. It's a tiny little AM gospel station that I had started working at 20 years ago. It's where I cut my teeth in radio.
I remember you
And they
mentioning it. Yeah, okay.
and they called me to come back to work. They went through some staff upheaval, and they called me to come back to work probably about 6 months ago or so.
Okay.
And cool, goes. It's easy. Nothing has changed around here in
15, 20
over a
years.
decade.
Right.
So, yeah, things haven't changed since they went automated. It used to not be an automated station, so it used to be that everything was live.
Wow.
So we were constantly, we had no music on CDs. We had one old computer that had the database. And then there were 4 huge cabinets that had CD carts in them. We're not even talking about just having CDs. These are CD carts, like you would have seen in a DJ booth and like, European DJs like switching out CD carts, things from like the early 90s. So
That's so crazy.
constantly, and it was on air 24 hours a day. There was no automation, so everything was live all
Well,
through the night. So you were constantly dealing with weird old people that would call you all through the night, and then but you were constantly switching music. It was the last old school, station in Knoxville.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was a great place to cut my teeth as a broadcaster. And then I left here, I went to another AM station, and then they started an FM station. So I got to be the first voice on that FM station. Then I moved and I was on air in Arlington, Virginia, and then I was back on air in Knoxville when I came back. And then I've just kind of been a journeyman when it comes to radio. But this little station taught me everything. It taught me everything that I knew in practicality, not talking about theory in a classroom when I was a student,
Right.
broadcast student.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, hands-on learning has always been the best way for me as well. Like, you can try to teach me in a class, but like, if you want me to really learn it, just do it with me a couple of times, and I'll be like, okay, cool, I see what the variables are. Because nothing's textbook, like, and that's kind of hard for my brain to like work through. Like, they'll give you examples in a textbook, and your brain will be like, well, what about all these other things? And it's just a text, right? It's not a real life example where you're working with somebody.
yeah, and this station's still using the same board it did. So WKXV is the oldest continuously formatted station in Knoxville. So they started in 1953.
Well,
And WNOX is the oldest call letters. They've been around since the beginning of radio in Knoxville. I don't know, over 100 years ago. But WKXV is the oldest continuously formatted station. So they've never changed format. And then WYSH that I worked at is the second oldest. They have never changed from being a country station. So they have always been gospel here. WYSH has always been gospel.
gotcha. Thank you for
And
clarifying what you mean by
AM,
format. Okay, I gotcha. Not hip to the
yeah.
radio speak, but that makes it make sense. Okay, gotcha. So you're getting to DJ the gospel, and is that what you're saying? And do the voice, the host for the shows?
So pretty much all I do is there's not a lot of time on Sunday. It's all preachers, so I really just cut commercials. I might hop on air, do a weather report, and maybe introduce, kind of recap. But that's only at like 3 p.m. The rest of the day
Gotcha.
it is loaded with other programs. So, there's,
Because it's Sunday,
the
and
other
it's a
thing
God.
is they don't, huh?
Because it's Sunday, of course.
Yeah. So, we have one church that they have a 2-hour block of time. So they call in, they have a 2-hour block of time. So I'm really just twiddling my thumbs for 2 hours. We've got 2 churches at the end of the night. One of them continuously drops. I don't know what's wrong with their phone system, but you're like paying attention the whole time because it'll start hearing it beep and
Oh
then
my
it'll
God.
drop. And immediately
Live.
you've got to hit some sort of music to fill in and try to get them back on the phone to be like, hey, you dropped. And get them back on. And it's they sometimes don't realize I have patched them into the board, so they don't realize that they're back on the air, and you just hear them like, "Well, I don't know if we're on the air. I think he put us on the air." Blah 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 blah, and then they drop off again because they hang up, and then they call back, and it's like, "Oh my lord, people!"
Wow. Yeah, that's way more stressful than it needs to be on a Sunday, but they're paying for the block, right? So you want to make sure that they get the block.
Yeah, so they, it's pretty much it's just as calm and easy as a radio gig goes because this is the easiest production gig outside of when I worked in Arlington. I didn't work in Arlington for long because the the station realized that I lived in Maryland and I was coming in on train, coming in super early. I was always early. And then I was staying past my shift because I was trying to catch the train. I would miss the train. So going back to Frederick, Maryland, there were only so many trains that would go to Union Station in DC in the morning.
Gotcha.
So I would have to catch the earliest train to get to DC, and then I would have to catch the last train out of DC because the second train out of Frederick was too late. I'd be late for work. So I would be like an hour and a half early for work, and then I would have to stay an extra hour to try to catch the train coming back to Frederick. So it was all this logistics, and they realized that driving there was not something, but they weren't going to validate parking. So the easiest thing for me to do, and it was cheaper to ride the train down, get on the subway, ride it to the end, get on the bus, ride it to the building, and then do that in reverse. But I'd have to time it out so that I would get there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, basically
they kept me
it's
for
just
a
the time.
couple of months in Arlington. Yeah, for what they were paying me, they were like, this isn't going to work. We appreciate what you're doing, but we feel bad because you're coming in so early and having to stay over, and you're not getting paid. You're just kind of here hanging out. And so that was it. That was my
Right.
time in Arlington.
Right, I gotcha. Yeah.
And it was a talk radio station, so all I did was sit in the production booth and pretty much do what I'm doing now. Make sure the show goes on, make sure everybody's prepped, make sure that, the other producers make sure that the telephones, that we were getting all the people on the phone lines and keeping all of that straight, and then that was it.
That's awesome, right? So it's just easy, just like make sure that it works, and when it's working, just sit back and let it keep working.
I was there to prevent fires, basically, and to make sure that people didn't lose their cool on the air. That was pretty much it. So it was a learning experience, but it was, there was never any time I didn't even cut commercials. I just worked behind the scenes.
Right,
So,
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what you did for this festival too, right?
kind of. This was an odd year because we were well staffed this year. Like
That's awesome. I did notice that.
yeah, we were well staffed, and that's not what I'm used to. I got to watch, maybe not watch entire. I watched a couple of entire sets, but I got to spend more time watching instead of being in the back of at the tech booth in the back, or putting out fires in the front of the house, or running back and forth between the green room and so on and so forth. So this was a much different year. Not that we didn't have fires to put out. Literally, our video mixer caught on fire. So
I heard that. I didn't notice it when it was
yeah.
happening, but I found out later. I was like, oh wow, wow, that would have been bad. So I'm glad. Who is the tech guy who's down there?
So Brett, my tech guy, is a guy named Brett Pierce.
Brett Pierce.
He is my. I met him when I started doing Dinner Detective in Knoxville. He was Brett's like the guy for Dinner Detective. I believe he's the longest tenured guy there.
Wow.
Great dude. He had
He is a
just
great
come
dude.
out of Nashville. Yeah, he had just come out of Nashville. He had went to school in Nashville for video production, and I brought him home from Nashville, and we were talking about it. I said, "Hey, do you want to?" I said, "I've got I've got everything that we need. Would you want to do the video production? Because my tech director is not going to be able." So my tech director of the last 2 years started a job at one of the theaters in Pigeon Forge.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
he's out. Because he's got to go produce. He's got to go run all the tech at one of those theaters. I don't remember which one it is. So Brett was my guy because he's like, yeah, I'd love to do it. And there we go.
Nice. Right.
And Brett was fantastic. Like,
And literally caught a fire before it happened. Yeah.
Yep. So it was nice this year having the front of house well covered. Having Jake Breeding running, kind of having him running flex was great because he was able to give people relief. He was able to run the curtain on the last day of the festival.
That was really fun. I did notice that.
Everybody
it was a good flourish.
We had a great crew out in the front of the house. So Lakin and Jamie and Dynasty doing her thing.
Dynasty, yeah, I was really impressed. I was like, wow, that's cool, like home cooking. So yeah, fantastic. Shout out to Dynasty Kitchens. Dynasty, I saw her. I should have got her tag. Dynasty Plates.
Trap Trays by Dynasty.
Trap Trays by Dynasty, yeah.
And she had done our festival a couple of years ago. She had just started and she was looking for events to do. And I was like, hey, you want to come and set up and do our festival? I am all for it. And she came and really cut her teeth. She had that opportunity to cut her teeth in what was the festival was laid out a little bit differently. So she was able to cut her teeth in that higher, in those rushes.
Right,
and she came in this year and she was way, way more prepared, and she was ambitious with her menu. The seafood boil, the catfish and tilapia and fries and chicken wings and all that. Like, she had 100%. Ambitious menu.
Well, that's why I was like, whoa, because I looked back there and there's one woman who was doing all of it. Because that's why I like looked at the menu and I was like, that's impressive is the right word to say.
Yeah, she pumped everything out like she was fully on top of it, because I was like, oh girl, when she told me, she gave me her menu and I was like, are you sure about this? She says, I got this.
She pumped it out like she had a full staff. That's the thing. She was literally doing the work for 3 people. I work in kitchens. Like, the ability of like the crowd that she was serving at the pace she was doing it. Like she worked out a system that she could really economize her time.
And she did, and she knocked out that seafood boil. Just got rave reviews from everybody that had it. It was fantastic. The shrimp was that was some tasty shrimp. It was, that's just something that I was thrilled to have her back. She did well at the festival. So
good for her. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was hoping she'd made some good money there too, because obviously that's the point of serving that. But like, yeah, great choice in putting her there specifically in the lobby. Because as you came out of shows, it's like, oh my God, that smells so good. And we've been, it's been 2 hours of shows for each block. And what a beautiful space, the Grove Theater, the historic Grove Theater. I wanted to hang around a bit after all the shows had cleared out, because I really just wanted to stand on the stage, because I have a love for like old stages. And I don't think it's that old, right? Like, it was built in the 50s. Is that right?
It was built, so it opened September 28th, 1944.
Okay, there's signs up in the lobby, which is super cool.
Yeah, so last year's festival ran on the 80th anniversary. So our Saturday night, was the 80th anniversary of the opening of the theater.
That's so cool.
And so that date is burned into my mind about the date that the theater opened. So that theater is 81, and it was a concert hall. It was a movie theater / concert hall. So that theater 12, that theater that we were in for the main shows,
Right.
that was the original theater.
Yeah, it has an orchestra
And
pit built into the stage. Like it's just like so it's well organized, and the acoustics. I was just like, you could hear pins drop from the stage.
I forget who designed the Grove Theater. I just know they were involved with the Fox Theater in Atlanta, which is a fantastic space.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the acoustics in that theater are, you don't have to be mic'd up to be heard in the theater. It helps, but you don't have to be mic'd to be heard in the back of the room.
Yeah.
It's just this year we tried kind of successfully, kind of not successfully with the boundary mics, because my audio board was not able to keep up with everything.
Okay,
And
I gotcha.
But we were able to partially keep that up and running. But it's a hard space to try to mic, because the house PA system is not where it should be. The house PA system is, so you've got the area that's in front of the stage, so on the sides of the stage, so stage left, stage right, there's these big baffled areas.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And that's where the speakers are. So they're kind of about mid-level of the stage.
Okay.
So if you get in front of the stage with a microphone, you get real bad feedback. So that's why I had speakers off to the front, in front of the stage, to the left and right, to try to put the boundary mics through those speakers to the house instead of to the bigger speakers, and still used microphones when needed for the house. So
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't even notice you were using them. So the like, again, props to your guys who were doing the mixing, because they tied it in naturally. There was no like sound of the audio plus the acoustics. They had kind of like blended. So yeah, good job for that.
Yeah, Rob Rupp, who ran.
Oh, Rob. Okay,
and
I
Jeff
got to
Mosier. Yeah, so Rob and Jeff Mosier. Jeff Mosier is another radio guy that in Knoxville is known as JJ Jeffries. And then Rob Rupp has done concerts. He's done events at the Grove in the past, so he's done concerts, he's done plays, he's done well-experienced audio guy, which that's a relief. I've got another audio guy. I've got two audio guys.
That is really
fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it just, the technical gremlins this year really were not Grove Theater gremlins. They were gremlins with our video system, and which worked flawlessly in our tech rehearsal, and did not work flawlessly until Saturday.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so we ran into those technical hiccups. It was just stuff we were not expecting.
What were the technical hiccups? Again, as a viewer from the show, I don't remember anything going on. You guys played it off very well. So what were they?
So the cameras. So my former tech director had recommended these cameras. I was going to buy a couple of cameras from a Japanese eBay reseller that refurbishes. So I was going to buy some Japanese broadcast cameras, because they use the same broadcasting standard in Japan that we use here in the U.S.
Gotcha.
So it's not that big of a change up to go from NTSC North America to NTSC Japan. It's, that's just technical.
Right.
They were Sony high definition cameras, like fantastic. They were at a great price. It's like, I'll order a couple of them and get them over. And then my former tech director talked me out of them. He's like, these cameras will do the trick. And once we got them figured out, they did the trick, but they did not export a clean HDMI.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
what that means is that all the information that you would have on a camcorder,
Hmm.
that was also being exported. So we didn't have a clean image. So
Mm.
we had to work around getting a mask programmed in and so on and so forth. And then we could not keep the live stream up. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't keep the live stream up. So
No. Okay, gotcha. I mean, that was a fun idea. I definitely shared it when I found that it existed because I was like, check it out. You guys can check out the improv too, and it's way close up. So okay, gotcha. And was it because it was all going through the same place, or was it? What do you think it was?
so my assumption is that it's just the amount of traffic was not the routers could not handle the amount of traffic, and that happens. We were able to live
That
stream the entire
that's fair.
festival, like flag to flag coverage, in our third year, so 2 years ago. Last year, because of Hurricane Helene, forget it, it wasn't happening. And this year, we were able to stay up. I think our longest that we stayed up was like an hour and 40 something minutes. So we were able to try to keep it up, but we just decided to scratch the live stream for Saturday, and things ran a lot smoother.
That's fair.
Um,
Right. It is a fun idea. Improv is hard to translate through video. There's something about people doing it in the live space that really is a blast. Um, so
yeah, the ability, the nice thing is that being able, so we taped all the performances were taped. We put those all up on our YouTube channel. We want all of the performers to have that for
yeah,
submissions for other festivals, for them to take back and, for them to go through and do game notes, go back and break down what you thought worked for your performance, ways for teams to go back and if they want to take those notes and try to work on, it's game film.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're able to go back and look at it, and this is what your performance was. Where could you improve? Were you happy with it? So on and so forth. And I think everybody left the stage happy this year.
There were a lot of
So
very fun performances for sure, so I hope that they are happy. I had so much fun. Like I said in the opening, like there was just people are just having a fun time with each other, and that's the best kind of improv, in my opinion.
that's always been my festival design,
Right.
because I've been to festivals. I've been to festivals where it was not a good time. Like the shows were
Oh
good, but you
no.
could you could just read in the room that teams were not happy with things, or whatever was happening backstage drama wise.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could
Okay.
read it in the room.
Feel ya.
And that is something that I really try to mitigate, because if you feed
And did a good
everybody,
job.
you keep them full of drinks, you feed them, you and you do things to keep the tempo up and the pace up. It everybody leaves kind of happy. People are able to sit and watch. It's not, the thing is that I designed this festival to be a festival I would want to go to,
There you go.
and it generally translates pretty well.
Well, and see, that's the thing is that when we talked about the show beforehand, the way that you described it, I was like, but that's the type of festival I would like to go to, which is why I ended up going there. And then it was exactly that. It was just, you could see that everybody was just really enjoying being there and the performances, so they were happy with that. Um, I missed Thursday night. Was there any like highlights from Thursday night that you wanted to call out as far as like the show goes? Like the performances that you got to see or like cool moments from Thursday.
So one of the cool moments that I thought really happened on Thursday, and so I do a show called Loteria. Is It is taken from Dylan Rhodey's Cards of Destiny, but I'm not allowed to call it Cards of Destiny. I have to call it by a different name. So that
Okay, I got you.
he uses tarot cards, and I was walking around Five Below, and I came across these Loteria Don Clemente cards, this Mexican picture bingo.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to look at these. So I opened opened the pack of cards in Five Below, and I started going through it, and I was like, these are the perfect analog for tarot.
Right.
So I went back and retranslated everything. So all the games are the same.
Okay.
But I retranslated it to, to fit those cards in the Loteria deck.
And so
And
what is
for this
Loteria?
year,
Like
uh,
how does the form unfold?
so
Like yeah,
so with
okay.
Loteria,
Yeah.
it's everything is by the draw of a card,
Hmm.
and every card corresponds to a different task. They're all 1 minute in length, and the audience votes. So this year we had Paul Simmons, who did Cards of Destiny when it happened 2 years ago.
Nice.
He's the one of the most experienced, but I had Oscar Goff and Barney March from Ad Company. I was really thrilled because I was able to include Lily Murray, who is one of my castmates in Dinner Detective. She's a great improviser, but she's not part of an improv team.
Gotcha.
And then we had Jamie Hickman, and I forget who else. And Jake Breeding. So were my players for Loteria because I cap it at 6 players. So Lily's the one that's completely fish out of water, right?
Okay.
She hasn't done improv in years, not an
Okay.
actual improv show. Like when we do
Right.
Dinner Detective, we do a lot of crowd work,
Right.
but
Different
Lily
type.
hasn't
You have
done
a structure,
actual
right?
improv.
Right.
Yeah, she hasn't done actual improv in years.
Improv is
So,
falling into infinity. If anyone has not done improv, that's the feeling of it. There's so many, you can make any choice you want to. There's just like an infinite number of choices. You're lucky when you're playing like a short form game, or it sounds like something like a Loteria, where you have like some structure given to you. So that's awesome. I cut you
oh
off.
yeah,
You said, so how does she respond?
So Lily just responds to this. She was incredibly comfortable on stage with all of the players, and she is, you know, she's toying with the players. She does perfect walk-ons into scenes, so she doesn't take anything away. Like she was the all-star of that game, if
That's
you
so
ask me.
awesome.
She almost won the game because it's an elimination game. So first round we eliminate half the players, and the other 3 players
Oh, that's what
play
the
the
audience
second
votes
final
on.
round. Yeah, so they played for 2 moon pies, an RC cola, and an indeterminate amount of money that was in my pocket, and it was $5. So
I did see that on
it
the link you sent me. Thought that was hilarious. That's what the
yeah,
prize is, of course.
it's never none of it's serious. I mean, that's just part of the fun. It's that what's a competition without some stakes? But the stakes are, of
Right, of
course,
course.
it harkens back to the what was it, the $1.98 beauty show at Rip Torn. I think it was Rip Torn, hosted in the '70s. That was produced by Chuck Barris. Like that was the whole gag. Is that at the end of the show, whoever won the beauty contest won $1.98. That was it, and that's
Rip
the
Torn.
same kind of gag.
That is a very funny bit. Yeah, tip of the hat to a very funny man, and also well executed. I didn't realize it was an homage and still played well. So what cards were drawn and what actions did they correspond to in the scene? I'm trying to get like a scope of what the audience would have seen.
So some of my, I mean, they hit some of my favorites. The new Broadway star. So you're doing a new musical on Broadway, and because we didn't have our musical director on Thursday night, so now you've got everybody's
What
all
was her
they're
name, by the way?
doing.
The musical director?
So we had two. So Robin Helwig, who is the musical director of the Backline in Omaha,
Gotcha.
he did Friday night, and then Michael Ray is our normal
Also
musical
got to
director.
see
But
him.
Michael Ray's anniversary fell on Friday, and his wife was like, "You're taking me to dinner, not
Right,
the
yeah.
improv festival."
Right, yeah,
And I
exactly.
told Michael, I said, "Oh, I don't know. This anniversary with your wife might trump my festival. It's okay."
Yeah, right, yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, so but Robin came in and she did fantastic. But
She's
you know,
a very
the
talented improviser for sure.
and so like the new Broadway star, that was fun to watch. The World's Biggest Jerk, my favorite of all the games. And emotional scale where you start where the player draws the card. It's a game that I have them pick a few players to play with them. We get a scenario where they would be, and they have to start at a 1 for whatever the emotion is and ramp it to a 10. You got to do that in a minute.
Right.
It's it's untelling what's going to happen in those games.
Right, yeah,
And then we get
exactly.
the crowd response to judge it. Um,
I noticed that later on in the festival as well that you had a volume measurement, which I thought was fantastic. So you had some data to back up who was winning.
yeah, the this year because Brett was at Brett was at stage. He's at stage right. He's got he's actually got the meter that is showing over. That's showing over on on his monitor screen. So he's
Right, yeah.
able to monitor who's getting the highest
Yeah,
applause.
yeah, exactly.
And
I totally
yeah,
appreciated that. I was like, yes, okay, cool. Because I got to catch the other ones. So you were doing that for Loteria as well.
yeah.
Fun.
And the games were fun. Everybody just took to it. Because everybody's a rookie at it except for Paul Simmons, and Paul is one of the best improvisers. He's so damn experienced at it that it's second nature to Paul just to fall into his improv self and pull himself right back out into
It,
normal Paul Simmons.
is Paul a
Like Paul,
balding
Paul
man
is
with
the same.
glasses and a gray mustache?
Yep.
Yeah, Paul is a very talented improviser. Saw him get picked for a number of things where he did the thing, he stepped into the role, he took it on with, full character work, object work, a new voice. I get to see him play with his team too. Yeah, shout out to Paul Simmons for just being just a very, and it wasn't, none of it was over the top. All of it is just very a balanced performance. He's like, this is what you need, this is what I'm giving you. Um, yeah, so yeah, I definitely celebrate Paul Simmons. So he got to play in the Loteria also at the beginning.
He did Loteria, he did the tournament, then he got picked to do Pat Smash's set. He did his
Yeah, yeah,
set. He
exactly.
was involved with something else. He taught a master class. Like Paul's, and he hosted the high school show.
Okay,
So
cool, cool.
the he hosts that every year. Um, I asked him to host it because the Sladen Cup and the Sladen Intensives, both of those are named after one of the founding. So Paul's a founding member of Einstein Simplified,
Gotcha.
and the guy that I named the cup and the intensives after was Bill Sladen. He passed away in 2020 at cancer, and he passed away. And he retired years ago. His last set was the 25th anniversary show for Einstein Simplified, and he got out and he killed. Bill Sladen was wickedly funny. Paul is wickedly funny. Everybody that's an Einstein is they're there for a reason.
Yeah,
They're
I got to catch that
wickedly funny.
show. Yeah, so very sharp, very funny. Again, very deliberate moves, supported by everybody on the team, continuing to build on it. It just yeah, fantastic. Both group work and individual. Like everyone had a point of view. They're making character choices, and then they made it all work together. It actually is a
They're
memorable show. I think that's the one about how the girl gets her first DUI. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump in real quick. I know Aaron saw a bunch of shows that weekend, so I mean, I only watch shows. He had a million other things to do, so I'm not surprised he doesn't remember. The show I was actually describing to you was an improv team called Dad Company, um, which is really, really fantastic. We'll talk about them later in the show, and that's why I wanted to jump in, is because it'll be confusing if you get the information you just got and you think it was Einstein simplified. Einstein simplified actually did kind of it wasn't that great of a show, but it felt like their dynamic was two veteran improvisers with two like younger students, and so. The reason it was a little bit weaker was only for that, is those kids were kind of still getting their chops. Although the two older guys who were on the team were incredible, and one of them was Paul Simmons. So back to the show, guys. It was Einstein
Yes,
simplified, right?
and
Yeah, yeah.
yes, and but they're performing every week. They perform every Tuesday night, and they do an hour and a half short form show every Tuesday night.
Wow.
So
Of course,
here in Knoxville, and they've done it for 31 years minus the apocalypse.
Um, nice way to put it. That's, I think everyone knows exactly what you're talking about when you say that. But yeah, no, that would make sense. They are definitely sharp, because they are still they're doing it all day every day basically, right? So that's awesome. So he got
And
to play part of the Loteria.
yep, and then everybody else. So for Jamie and Jake, that's their first festival. Lily, it's her first festival. Dad Company, it's not their first festival. Uh, and Paul, he's just the seasoned pros, done multiple festivals, yada yada yada. Um, but so the three of the teams that performed on Thursday, it was their first time doing a festival. So Larange and Dame, even though I give it that French pronunciation of Jame to give them the fanciness, but that's not it. It's just Jame.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, those two teams are from Knoxville, and we have a training group now called Manatee Vanity Improv, and Kayla Wingirter she's doing the Lord's work, in helping build a much more in-depth improv scene in Knoxville.
Really?
So Larange and John got to do their first festival shows. Porch Cats, I believe, that was their first improv festival.
So those two
And
you
the
saying was
chameleon,
from Taylor's teams in Knoxville?
so John and Larange and an Impro Bob who performed in the matinee show on
Gotcha.
Saturday.
Okay, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
yeah, and then her team, Pretend Friends Improv, that's a team that kind of formed because of this festival. So,
That's
which I
awesome.
think is
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I should call out that you were on a previous episode, and that's, that this is why we're talking about it. But on that episode, you called out, and I think you did at the festival too, how this show started out as another festival, but then migrated because you wanted to have two of them a year, and you had the ability to do it at this theater. Uh,
So
so,
it was the festival. This festival was to be the sister festival of the Gatlinburg Improv Festival that would run in March, into February, beginning of March, kind of like we straddle the September, October dates. The Gatlinburg Improv Festival it used to straddle February, March, and James Newport was the guy who founded that. I just got to watch from the back end of that for the last 6 years of that festival going on. And, I learned everything I learned about how to put a festival together, how to try to run one. I learned that from James Newport. It was just paying attention to what him and his ex-wife Krisha did. They made something incredibly special. And that, at the end of the day, that's all I want to try to do is carry all the lessons I learned from them over to this festival.
right, right.
And I think I'm doing okay at it. That's not perfect, but I think we're doing okay. you know, but James was somebody to learn from because James was involved with in the 80s with comedy sports in DC and theater sports somewhere else, and then he was the creative director at SAC Comedy Lab. I'm pretty sure James Newport is the guy who replaced Wayne Brady for the job.
Oh wow. Okay, gotcha.
So, learning from James, it's like you learn from a master class of somebody that brought 30 years of experience to the festival, and or that brought 30 years of experience to his festival because he's kind of done and saw it all. And um, it was one of those that when I decided to try to do the festival, he had been expecting it for years that I was going to call him to be like, hey, I want to do a festival. And he had that was something he said. He said, I've expected this phone call for about 3 years. I'll never forget that. And he said, there's nobody else I would want to have run a second festival. So, and that's how all of this really got started. It was, my son's mom encouraged me to do it, and then I did, because you set me in a direction, and I'm just like I'm like a dog chasing, I'm like a greyhound chasing after a rabbit on track. Like, we're going.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. And we've done it in various iterations of smoothness over the years. Because this festival has, we survived the first year and it was a dumpster fire. So to get to where we are now, it's a night and day difference. But it's always through continuous learning, taking notes, listening to feedback from teams and volunteers and audience, and that's really what it comes down to, is that I'm always listening, because somebody else is going to see something that I don't see. I'm too close to it. But
right.
One of my performers, they may see something that, hey, you need to, it would be nice if you did this. And like the biggest piece, the reason the sets were the length that they were is that was a couple of years of just feedback to make it a little bit longer, make it a little bit more relaxed. And I think we had something really good that happened this year.
I would agree with you. I had nothing to compare it to except for my own experiences, but yeah, there is something about a festival when it's done well, right? And everyone's having a good time, where there's just this magic, and you're just like, it's greater than all the people who are gathered. It's like you've created a large group mind somehow. So bravo to you for doing that. That leads me to actually, I want to talk about Friday, which I did get to see, and was blown away, because I'm just going to read down the playlist, which I'm sure you know, but it was Playback Reloaded, Dad Company, Pretend Friend is Improv, Solitaire the Musical, Friends on Facebook, this Solovela, and then Right Mouse Click, and then Patsmashprov, and the Platonics, ending with the Sled Cup tournament. Like, it was just like, so this is what had happened, is I had driven up to get to Oak Ridge, and basically like thrown my bags into the room, and then drove over to the theater to catch the show. And then I got hit with like back to back like fire, where I was just like, every time I was like, dang, that was a really good show. Then the next one I was like, dang, that was a really good show. And it like kept happening for the entire of like Friday night. So I just, like, that's what I'm talking about, like the magic that I got to walk into. I have no idea what happened on Thursday. It sounds like you guys had a lot of fun. You prepped up for it. And then it's like, as soon as I got to start watching shows, I was just like, yeah, here we are to experience it. Dad Company, we already called out because they were fantastic. They did my first DUI show. It was a solid conceptual show that held together the story and kept being inspired. I can't believe you got in Solitaire the Musical to come back multiple times.
He has come back. So Nick Condon
Thank you
is
for saying his
the
name.
first year he come out. So in the third festival, like the third festival to me is like that's this year kind of feels like it's now the bar point, but the third festival was really kind of the bar
Okay.
because it went really well in the level of talent. So every year our talent gets better, and last year was freaking amazing. But our third festival, we had TJ Mannix, who, TJ Mannix does a show called Limbo Land. And TJ was somebody that he was part of Conan O'Brien, Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Gotcha.
So, like, yeah, learning, taking his master class was unbelievable. Like, I learned so much from a master like him. And Nick Condon, I was familiar with because I had wanted to go to the Alaska State Improv Festival that Nick used to run.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to go out to that, and then money just became an issue that I wasn't able to go because it's in Alaska.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
and
gonna be
I'm in Tennessee.
pretty pricey.
And,
yeah.
Yeah. So, but I had been familiar with Nick Condon in the offing, and then I get a submission from TJ, and I get this beautiful email, and then a submission from TJ Mannix, and I get this Nick Condon like coming to do Solitaire, and I'm like, this is fantastic. And then Nick comes back every year because he stole the show.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
In our third festival. And then,
I just say it. Yeah, that he has his formal lock. Obviously, he teaches that as a master class, and then he knows how to play characters in perspective, like to a T. This year he played a character that was some of his dialogue was straight mumbling, and was the funniest shit I have ever seen. It literally wasn't dialogue. He was just expressing emotions by not talking with whatever that was, So
yeah, Nick is brilliant at what he does. And every year, Solitaire the Musical is a fan favorite. People talk about it. I get emails about it. It's always, is Nick Condon coming back this year? Is Nick Condon coming back?
Yeah.
And I'm determined to bring Nick back. Every year he wants to come. I really want to get him to bring his husband, and they do their Nancy Boys show.
They improvise together?
Which is
two of them?
So, huh?
They would improvise together, the two of them?
Yes, and they do.
My jaw's on the floor.
Their show is it's a mystery type of show. It's a take on the Hardy Boys, and the videos I've watched of it are brilliant. Like I'll take having Solitaire the Musical. If I have that every year, that's a win. If I can get both of them together to do a set, that would be a huge win.
Putting anybody on stage is going to look great with Nick because Nick is a brilliant improviser, right? Like just pairing it with anybody, pairing it with somebody he knows well, who probably also has some improv skills, I'm guessing, would be the thing that would just like rivet everybody. I can tell. I understand why. I'm going to look up because I would love to also see some videos of that. Wow.
It's entertaining. It is incredibly entertaining.
Yeah. You also mentioned, I forgot that it's a musical, and it's Nick singing. And musical improv is a little bit passé in my opinion, because so many people are doing it, but not great. But Nick is definitely an exception to that. So if you ever saw Solitaire the Musical and you're like, maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't, you should check him out actually, because he understands what characters do, and music is just a way to do that.
Yeah, and if you're in Portland, and I think it's next week, it's either this weekend or next weekend. So if you're in Portland, he's doing a horror comedy themed Solitaire that he's going to do. That if I was able to go to Portland just to go watch this, I would.
Right.
Because it just sounds incredible. So that I know that's coming up on Nick's plate. But yeah, I try to lay out. So I have a theory when I try to lay out my shows.
Okay.
One, it's knowing who's available on what night, and then you build from there. And then the other thing that I try to do is I try to escalate so that by the time you get to the end of the night, it's either going to be something that's going to you're going to it's you hit a really hard climax and it just doesn't stop.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
exactly. So yeah, so you led up to Solitaire the musical with some really solid shows beforehand. They were very fast, very funny, very structured. You hit Solitaire the musical, we get a light reprieve with friends on Facebook, which are really fun, very fast improv, and then you ready to segue to this? The Solovela, the improvised solo telenovela,
oh
which
my
oh
lord,
my
Diane
God.
Jorge killed that.
Oh my
This
God. Okay, again, a solo show. And you told me that there were solo shows, and I'd seen a couple before, and sometimes they're really hard to watch because if someone cannot support themselves, they're hard. Nick is great because he's obviously a pro, and then she is as well. Please say her name because I've forgotten it.
Diane Jorge,
Oh,
and
yes.
she's so the video that I saw,
Instagram
like
Diana is
I was
loud.
hee-haw
I follow
laughing.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was hee-haw laughing at her submission. I was like, if
Oh my
she is
God.
anywhere as
Oh my
strong as
God.
she is in the submission video, I would be stupid not to have her at
Oh
the
my God.
festival.
Oh my
And
God.
oh my God, it was so funny. Her out in the audience was
Her crowd
so
work
funny.
first. Okay, first her crowd work, right? You have to laugh at just how brilliant it is. Also, if you see on her Instagram, what her shtick really is crowd work. She does like a fortune teller too, as what it is. So she can show up and perform at any gig where there's crowds. But that all her characters are just fun to be around and interact with. So yeah, you can hire her and you should.
Oh yeah, it was a great booking, and I was so like I don't like to put solo. I like to try to spread my solo performers out, but this year it was it was everybody was building toward
Right,
something. So
right, right, right.
having Nick, having Diane, having Pat Price, having
Patrick,
Pat
yeah,
Smash,
yeah.
it was it was absolutely because I knew that Nick's gonna, everybody on Friday is going to, there's that whole groundwork, and Dad Company's going to come out strong
Right.
because they are really funny, and they've been around for just a couple of years. They've not been together for a very long time, but they are very good together. And in friends on Facebook, they don't get to play a lot with each other. Not They don't get to play often with each other, but they have a very good chemistry. Because ever since their home theater shut down, so they're
Oh
not
no.
able to play on a regular basis. So this
Gotcha.
for them was a lot of fun for them to come out, and then get Nick, and then you're building to Diane Jorge, and then Pat Smash.
And then Patsmashprov.
I was so
One,
excited about that.
yeah, yeah, and it was really fun. One of the things I want to point out between all the three of these is it was totally fine to do three solo shows as far as from an audience perspective, because you have Nick who's a musical, who's doing a romantic comedy, which is beautiful. You have Diana who's doing the telenovela, of course, and so it's in this very dramatic telenovela, and she did like an audience interview that took the story from them, and that was super fun just to watch and to be a part of. And then she took that and built it into a beautiful story, wearing different costumes and just absolutely trashing the stage with roses. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, the sickness of love or something like that was the name of the show. Because she kept
Just
saying
something
it
like
in
that.
Spanish like that. And then, of course, you go into Patsmashprov, which is him doing like the cuts to like taunt the wrestler with the person that he's introduced in the audience, and the two of them coming up with their greatest fears and joys. Uh, you know, Patrick Price. So like he just it for a one man show that is monologues, he like it depends on him bringing the entire like carrying the theater with energy, and he does it. So
So Diane's got props for the Solovela.
Yeah.
Pat's got he's got the balloons, he's got
Yeah.
all the other, like, the glow stick things and all the other things
Yeah,
that
exactly.
he had. Like, I knew when I saw the video of Pat Smash, I was like, Pat Smash is the perfect show to be somewhat of a lead in to that last hour before. I like to try to do Friday night late to be interesting shows, to be really kind of off the wall. And East Tennessee has such a history with professional wrestling. It's it's such a deep, intertwined, you know, thing. Like, if you listen to Jim Cornette's podcast, Jim talks about Knoxville all the time because Smoky Mountain Wrestling was based out of Knoxville, but Knoxville was important in the wrestling territory days. Besides Memphis, like, it was a
Okay. I gotcha. I
tag
gotcha.
team
Yeah, that
haven.
ties in. Yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, so it was a tag team haven. Like, there's this history. Like, you used to you and I grew up around pro wrestling. My dad was a huge pro wrestling fan growing up. So for me, it's like there's this deep, long running connection to pro wrestling that I can't say no to this. It's brilliant on its face, but it jives with this area. I mean, in the 60s, in the 70s, like, they had wrestling every Saturday night at the Jacobs Building in Knoxville, and blue-haired church ladies used to show up, and I swear they probably were drinking and smoking. They had bricks in their purses, and if your heel tag team beat their baby face tag team, you had to be escorted out, or you were getting stabbed or beaten with a brick. Like, Knoxville was crazy. And, and so being able to have somebody like Pat Price, it's one of those that it just was something that I had to have it. Like, there
Right,
is
right.
no ifs, ands, or buts.
100%.
You
No,
have to
100%.
have this show.
Yeah, he went on at 11:15 was when he was scheduled, or whenever it was in the festival evening. And so it's obviously a late night show, but brought the energy right back up for it to end that out. I do need to pause real quick just to call out, it's the top of the hour, and this is a Cox and Space podcast. This is behind the scenes, a secret Sunday episode as we're talking about the secret City Improv Festival here with Aaron Campbell. If you want to know more about what we do on Cox and Space, you can go to coxandspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. There you can get connected with our Facebook and come on one of these shows where you can talk about the things that you're interested in. We're just nerding out about the Secret City Improv Festival because I had a great time and Aaron ran the festival and we had a great time. So that's what we're doing tonight. But you can get connected with us on our Facebook. You can also join our Discord. Come hang out up here on these shows as as a guest or as an audience member, where you just come in and listen in the green room after the show, during the show, and you can just see all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we have going on in all the chats and whatnot. And then also for $5 a month or more, you can support us on Patreon. We're making a move now to get animators rolling on the project, so all the funding that helps go towards that is what we're looking to do. So you can just click join the crew and then select which option you would like, and then you can help us out. So that's all at coxandspace.com. All of our contact information is up there. We really appreciate you listening to us, and we're going to be headed back to the show with Aaron Campbell. So, Aaron, do you have any socials you want to shout out beside, of course, the secretcityimprovfest.com, which people should be checking out for, of course, submissions that are coming up, and then the next round of shows, the next festival.
The next festival submissions will start probably around February 1st. I I anticipate that the next festival, because it's all contingent on University of Tennessee football.
Okay.
So it's my anticipation is that the bye week for UT is going to fall the last weekend of September or the first weekend of October. So it will either be October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, because we'll stay 3 days this coming up year. Or it will be, I want to say the 24th, 25th, 26th of September.
Okay.
So,
Okay, gotcha.
but I'm not sure yet because the SEC is doing all this realignment. So I'm hoping they don't move the bye week to earlier in the year.
Oh.
I'd be okay if it was moved a little later in October, but I'm hoping that they don't move it to August
Oh, interesting. Okay,
or
gotcha.
the beginning of September because it puts the Sladen intensives in a precarious place because a lot of high schools have not done their casting for their improv teams.
Oh, in September. Okay, gotcha. Right, because school's
Right.
starting.
If it's in October, that would be great. If so, it all depends. Like that's the everybody's like, when is the next festival? I don't know yet because
Right.
I am waiting, just like everybody else in East Tennessee. I'm waiting on the University of Tennessee football schedule.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. That was one of the final things. And I hadn't even asked, but you like obviously you've gotten the question so many times that you just like, listen, let me be straight with you. I have no idea, and neither does anybody else right now. So,
Yeah, I have no idea just because nobody has an idea yet, and they don't leak the dates. Like they've kind of leaked the 2026 schedule, but they've not leaked the dates, and that makes it really difficult when you're trying to schedule. And I
yeah,
hope they do it before
absolutely.
the Christmas parade.
Right, yeah, exactly. So people will know. Um,
Because the Oak Ridge Christmas Parade is ran by the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm a Chamber of Commerce member, so I can go for free. So and be in the parade. So I would like to be able to do that so that we can start getting that conversation rolling for next year.
right, of course. I mean, it's a very fun event. I'm sure that you think about it throughout the year. I did want to talk about, so to make sure that we have a time to talk about all the fun things that are happening, is that there were a bunch of workshops that you were talking about were offered. I got to go to one on Saturday with Mandy Bedbury,
Oh
uh,
yeah, the
which
physicality workshop.
yeah, yeah, it was super fun, and you were right. You're like we like to have workshops that like they're not going to break the bank, and that you're just gonna go and do and have a fun thing. And like after the first day of the festival, I was like, you know what? Tomorrow we have there's some workshops, but there's not shows, so I have some time. And I was like, so who's going on on Saturday? And I was like, out of the options, I was like, which there were a bunch of good options. That was the thing is I kind of I was like, I can't attend all of them, but. Um, but yeah, it was just it's such a great time, so much fun. She of course is with Here We Are, because I think she
Mm-hmm.
coaches out of Minnesota. So
Yep,
yeah,
Minneapolis.
yeah, ways away, came all the way from there. And then you had a bunch of really cool away games happening, which, if you just look at the Secret City Improv Festival, I don't think you get to see that cool thing that's happening. Now, I know you said it was a headache because it's a totally different thing that's going on separate to the actual festival. But I think it's a really cool idea. Do you want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah, so you know, like you know, the things that we have continuously, it's things that we've continuously built on. So the away games. So okay, so there's a lot of ground to cover. Let me go back to the workshops and master
Okay,
classes
gotcha.
right
Yes,
quick.
yeah, please. I wanted you to talk
So
about that too, so let's talk about that, and then we can get to the away games. Thank you.
yeah, the master classes did not start until the third year because
Really?
we did just workshops. So in the first year,
Okay, I gotcha.
I was the only person that took a workshop. That was it. Nobody else. I had everybody lined up, and nobody took a workshop. I was like,
Jeez.
no. Like
Ah,
because the workshops are one of those things that at Gatlinburg all they did were workshops. And you built this real sense of community with your fellow players because you went through the entire day with them, and there was
Right, right.
5 workshops.
Exactly. That was kind of why I enjoyed the experiences because I got to meet a bunch of people that I wouldn't have gotten to otherwise if I, had not gone to a workshop. And I forgot how fun it is to improvise with people. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so the master classes, that was something that had got brought up to us, um, proposed. It was, hey, we'd like to do a master class. Can we do a longer form workshop? And I was like, I'll think about it. And I thought about it, and I looked over proposals, and I was like, I would like to have these classes be longer. So TJ Mannix did one, and I want to say Nick Condon. I think Nick's always done a master class. So I think
Yeah,
it was
I noticed
Nick
he did
and
this one
TJ
too.
Mannix.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Guys who
And
know what they're doing and talking about, right?
yeah, so but I try to vary up what we do. So, Paul Simmons doing the rule of three this year, Nick Condon doing rom com. So Nick did not do a musical master class this year. And then, but we had a musical master class with Robin Helwig. We had
A great person to
the
learn that from, for
friends on
sure.
Facebook were supposed to do what I thought was one that I tried to pitch to the Chamber of Commerce on rapport building. I thought it would have been a fantastic one to have people to come out at 9 a.m. Did not work, and I'll think about next year setting my timings a little different. But so um, the friends on Facebook ended up very nervously teaching in the Sladen intensives and killed it. So
Nice.
it worked out. Um, but yeah, it's always to try to offer something different and varied. It's not all the same beat. So it's a physicality workshop. It's a musical workshop. It's one that's off the wall. It's out in left field a little bit, and then there's a much more straight up improv character something workshop. And and this is the first year that we expanded to do workshops on Friday. We did 2 workshops on Friday, and Taylor Wingirter and Patrick Price did their 2 workshops. So it was the first year that we expanded the length, we expanded the amount of workshops and master classes, and I'm going to look at restructuring, and we're going to keep Friday workshops and master classes, and we're going to keep Friday for workshops and master classes, and Saturday for workshops and master classes. Um, there is a market for it, so absolutely, we're going. That's one of those that I look at it and I'm like, successful this year. We'll try it again next year and see what happens.
Yeah, one of the things I did appreciate was just the variety of classes. That's why it was hard to choose. Um, because there were so many different things that you had covered. Obviously Nick's rom-com was one of them. The musical with Robin, movement classes, emotions. So yeah, I definitely appreciated that you had just like that variance of all those.
Yeah, Nick. So last year Nick did Improv the Musical as a master class, and that became a master class to stage show, or so it was a master class to stage, and then the his rom com this year was master class to stage. And I
That was
like
what
the
the
idea of
matinees
being
were,
able
right?
to, yeah, and I like the idea of being able to have one of those master classes go master class to stage. So you get an actual improv show at that point.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
rom com was great.
Really.
Uh, it was lovely. Like, that would have been a wonderful Saturday night show. It was absolutely lovely.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that that came out. Obviously, Nick was like, "Hey guys, here's some of the secrets as to how I build characters," and they're like, "Oh, cool. Once we know the secrets, it is a lot easier." because things have form. So we are almost out of time. We have about 15 minutes left in the show.
Right? So
So
the away
and
games.
yeah, I did want to cover the
Uh,
away games because it's one of the shows I got to catch was at the putt putt course, and it was a really fun time. I knew that there are other ones too, and so yes, please fill us in on it.
so okay, so we did last year. We did the Oak Ridge Library with hitchhikers and appetizers,
Oh, fun!
and it was a success. Like the library was super excited to have hitchhikers and appetizers back, and it
That
fits
is a
with the library
that's
because
a
it's
great
a
place
set
for
in
them.
the Hitchhiker's Guide to
Yeah.
the Universe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I'm sorry, I cut you off. You gave the explanation. Yeah, it's a podcast set in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. And, on the stage it was a little odd, but I could see in a library setting how it would be like completely perfect.
it's
Or as a
perfect for
podcast,
the
it's perfect.
library. Yeah, it's perfect for the library. They love it. And I really like Mike Gorgon, Abram Peacock. I like those guys a lot. So, like, I want them to keep coming up from Atlanta to do that. And then putting the Platonics with them this year. And then the Greens by Gypsy Circus, the Greens had reached out to me last year, earlier, or very early in the year. I was like, hey, we want to do something with the festival.
Oh, the putt-putt
And so I
course.
had
Yeah,
that in
the
my back
greens. Yeah.
pocket. Yeah. And Hops and Hounds, Bela that owns it, like he wants to be involved, and Crafters Brew wanted to be involved. So it's like perfect. We've got places that will have this, and I can send the away teams, the people that have traveled in, to go somewhere else to perform and go out,
Right.
and you're selling the festival to a wider audience in a free show, and then come back and watch. And it it drew people that would not have came.
Right, right.
And that's the whole point of doing those shows. And some of them, I'm probably going to restructure those for next year. How
They're
we're going to
always
what shows
learning,
we're going to do
always
and
growing.
locations. But yeah, but it was a good experience. All the teams had a blast, especially the ones that
Eh,
went to Hops and Hounds. They
damn.
just over the moon to do improv in front of dogs. So
So that is
um,
fun. Let me tell you, I saw one of my absolute favorite, and let me tell you just from experience, I've seen a lot of improv, right? But I saw my absolute favorite show at the Greens. The three teams that showed up there, you like took care of the Greens really great. You sent them Pandemic at the Disco, the Red Pill Players, and Here We Are. And so I got to see those guys in a very up close and intimate environment of them like in the corner of a putt-putt room, right? Like a little game room. So it was super fun. Like, so you like, you need to restructure and all this, but like, everyone who is in the Oak Ridge area missed out on one of the most amazing shows that happened because we got to see Here We Are, they're very like close knit. One of the two of the team members are a husband and wife that play together. One of them is a friend of theirs who has played with them a lot, and obviously their coach too, Mandy Bedbury. And so they did a show that was both chaotic and then also held together with a story and had like callbacks that were so fun that other teams called them back later in the set. It was just, and like of course we're like really close to them, and so that they could do like relationship scenes well as well. And then the Red Pill Players, my God. You said you've hung out with them before, right? Like you used to go to show
so,
like classes with them and stuff. Please tell me more about the Red Pill Players.
oh,
They're so fun because they're having so much fun. Like the thing about them is they can do whatever they want to because the three of them love each other so much.
if you get the whole team together,
Wait, there's
oh
more?
Lord,
No, there's
there's
more?
8 of them in the team. There's 8 in
Oh,
the team,
oh my God. Okay, so
and
who showed up? Yoshi was there, right?
Yoshi. Yeah, so Yoshi Sadiq, who is a brilliant improviser, he's a great stand-up comedian.
Oh my God.
He
Yeah, all the
is
above.
the tallest guy you're going to meet. Like
Totally also
Yoshi is this
true.
intimidating teddy bear,
Yeah, no,
and
I hung out
then
with him briefly before the show, not knowing who he was. And I was like, oh, this guy's super cool. I hope he's gonna be on stage. And then he performed with the Red Pill Players, and I was like, oh my God! Like I'm just like I didn't even super fan before I even saw him perform. Um,
Oh yeah, and then Anthony Goolsby. Anthony Goolsby is
oh,
a
Goolsby.
very good. He is his acting credits extend far and wide because Atlanta is this hub of just television. So he's got all of these dramas that he's been in, like BET dramas and stuff. Like he's got a ton and feature film credits and all this. Like Anthony Goolsby is a rock star, and Octavian Whitaker, who came.
Oh, Octavian.
Octavian is the one that he was the one that reached out to me, and I was like, I don't have to think about it. Y'all are in because I've been dying to get you guys in.
Oh my God. Yeah, Octavian, a very tall dude and the nicest guy you've ever met. Super aware of everything that's going on around him and willing to play any game anyone wants to play. Then we did get to talk about Goolsby, of course, who is a glue player, that will make sure that the scene keeps running in the direction, and then also will support during surprises. And I was like, oh my God, like the three of them. Again, we was basically sitting in each other's laps. This is the type of intimate environment that you'd created at the Green, at the Greens. And so I got to see them that close, and I got to see them, of course, later on in Saturday Night Show, and as much as amazing. That was the Seesaw show, if you remember.
Oh,
Which
God,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry for saying that out loud on air. I'm gonna have to bleep it out probably because it's just so inappropriate that I would say
Well,
something
we're not
like
saying
that.
what the word was replaced
Yeah, I'm
with,
just
so
saying. I'm just messing.
uh,
Yeah, no, but that's the joke,
that's
right?
all we gotta say on that one. But
Yeah, to say the
uh,
Seesaw joke. It's so
the red
funny.
pill. Oh yeah, so all of us everybody's in Red Pill Players. So me included in this, we were all at the Village Theater at the same time. So I used to
Oh,
drive from Knoxville to Atlanta to take improv classes at the Village Theater.
gotcha. That's what you
And
said. Yeah.
so Yoshi was one class ahead, he was one level ahead of me. And then there's a guy named Will Hayes, and then there's Ryan Mull. Ryan was with Yoshi, Will was with me, not Leslie Jordan, oh crud, I can't think. Leslie is going to kill me for forgetting her last name.
Oh my God.
They've got a woman in the group named Leslie. There's Octavian. There's Anthony. I forget. But Anthony and Octavian would have been behind us by a little bit. But
Gotcha.
everybody is a Village Theater grad. That's in the Red Pill
Gotcha.
Players.
Gotcha.
They're the funniest people in the room.
100%.
They
100%. Without even
and
trying. Like, that's the thing. It's like, there's some people who strive to be the funniest people in the room, and then there's these guys who are just hanging out casually and being the funniest people in the room. Like, they're not even breaking a sweat while doing it. And that was
so
was really fun to see them both times. Yeah, it's because, they weren't trying to impress you. They're just impressive. Like, so.
they're just impressive, and it was always something because before we'd have classes would start, you're out in the lobby of the theater, and Yoshi and Will were just immediately drawn to each other, and Yoshi would come and he would get Will either before class or everybody's talking after class, and Yoshi would come and get Will, and the next thing you would hear Yoshi or Will just start hee-hawing. That just these big, huge belly laughs, because these two are constantly pushing each other.
Just
And
doing bits and
if
whatnot.
Will Hayes is one of the funniest people I've ever met. Naturally, just talented. He's the hardest person. It was always hard as a stand-up to follow Trey Crowder. It was really hard to share a stage with Will because Will Hayes is damn funny naturally that you're just trying to hold on. And
I've been on
it's the
stage with
same
guys
for
like
all
that,
the
100%.
oh yeah, for all the people in the Red Pill Players, they are the funniest people in the room, and it's just natural. And now they're doing festivals again. So
And we
I
are
look
blessed that
forward
they're
to being
doing
able to have
festivals. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I look forward to being able, and they won the Atlanta Improv League. They won the Atlanta Improv Tournament. I want to say they won it twice. They won the league multiple times because they used to have an improv league that would take place at different bars and theaters and stuff, and
I gotcha.
that led to the improv tournament. And it was, so they were they. It's no joke to call them the Kings of Atlanta. They're the Kings of Atlanta Improv. They're probably the Kings of Atlanta Comedy, and
And
that is
and
saying
and
a
it
lot.
shows. Yeah, and it shows. I mean, I know there's a lot of really great comedians in Atlanta, but it shows. Again, seeing them up that close. We're sort of running out of time, but I also want to mention this is I got to see Pandemic at the Disco at the Greens. Now, the cool thing
Amazing.
about that experience was that Robin didn't have her piano, and so she had to do improv, like character-based improv, like she does from the piano without it, with her partner, who I'm really sorry I've forgotten his name as well. Um,
Matt
big,
Johnson, who won our
Matt
tournament,
Johnson. Yeah, yeah, who won the Slating Cup. Yeah.
won
Big
the Slating
beard.
Cup.
Yeah, glasses, a lot of long hair. Because he also does very like slow comedy that's character based, and they just like build scenes together. So this is done in a really intimate setting. And they performed one of the finest pieces of improv that I have seen in my life. It like is part of like the like moments in time where I'm like, man, I was really glad that I was there and I got to see that. Because they created this reality where there's this couple that was like this like dude who was trying to get this number from this girl, and so he creates this elaborate scheme so that he can do it. And then she starts calling him out on his bullshit, and they have like this like back and forth. While they're on like on a getting on in line for a roller coaster at Disneyland, right? So it's just like this. They had this premise that they have a 25-minute show, and it was just them standing there, but the most interesting character development that you could possibly do. And there was no cuts. It was just the two of them doing it. Just fantastically solid storytelling and character development. So I wanted to shout that out on this show too. Like Pandemic at the Disco, and the two of them playing together is they're like just doing amazing improv. So I got and then of course I got to see them do it in the Saturday night show as well, where she was actually behind the piano. So I was like, okay, how is it different? And they're now freaking singing, which is its own skill.
People sleep on Omaha, Nebraska. You do not think of Omaha, Nebraska
I
as
had
being a place that turns out really funny people, and they do all the time. And
absolutely.
the Back Line has been represented at our festival, not every year, but they have been represented throughout the history of the festival. And I love the performers that come from the Back Line. They're all solid, and they're all
Really
so
good,
damn funny.
good
And
to know. Yeah.
so if you want to plan a trip to, that's like the movie Yes Man. No one goes to Lincoln, Nebraska on vacation.
I have been through
No one
Lincoln,
goes to
Nebraska.
Omaha
Yeah.
on vacation unless you're going to the College World Series.
Right, right.
Go to Omaha and watch shows at the Back Line. Those people are so, every performer that comes from the Back Line is so doggone funny. And then the fever dream of Big Bang Improv.
How can we well, let's end on this one, yeah, because how can we not shout out the fever dream that is Big Bang
Oh
Improv from
my
Boston, Massachusetts.
God.
So there's a
I
style of
laughed
improv.
so hard.
Yeah, yeah. There's a style of improv that is fast edits, quick scenes. It's Chicago based, as far as I know, because it's a very comedy sports that turned to long form, is what I understand how it developed. And so this is the style of improv that I associate most with what it is. Is you quickly have characters, they're in a place, they do a bit, you see them all like smash into each other, and then there's like resolutions from it. It has a very like abstract art film feeling to it. This one is about falling in love in the office and dentistry. Uh,
I don't know how to describe it other than it was a fever dream, and that's in
yeah,
Boston.
and dead comedians was another bit in the middle of the show. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. They were from Boston. I only recognize it as a Chicago style. But it seems they are playing fast, like down in Boston too, apparently.
It's
But it wasn't
so
just you and
Will.
me laughing. It was the whole audience where we're just riveted at what we were seeing. We can't stop looking at it, even though it's a freaking car wreck, and we're dying because it's hilarious at the same time.
The audience. So I was outside. I had went out to congratulate and say hi to, to the Red Pill players, and then the next thing you know, we're all standing there, and the audience is kind of petered off, but the laughs coming out of the theater were unreal, and we all four of us looked at each other and said, "What the hell are we missing? Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You,
We're gonna go in."
you should
And
get
then you
first.
just see there's just people standing up all over from they're down on the floor, they're not on the stage, and then
Right,
the
yeah.
audience members standing up, and it's just, what did we walk into?
Yeah,
And
that was the dead
it was
comedians
just,
bit. It was like it's a train ride of dead comedians. Like what a bizarre bit to like, but yeah, it was really super fun because all the the people who had were volunteers were also improvisers. So like they were improvising with improvisers who were heightening the joke as much as they possibly could too. And all
oh,
friends of people who
so
were in the
funny.
audience. So funny. It was, yeah. So getting to see Big Bang Improv. Improv Chattanooga had a very hard task because they came after Bang Improv. They came late at the end of the night. Everybody was exhausted because of what they had just seen in the last 25 minutes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Like, Improv
two
Chattanooga
boys,
is,
two of them. That was it. Just the little like Filipino or like Hispanic guy and like just a very tall, thin, like average looking white guy doing the most like just insane shit you've ever seen. Perfectly placed, of course, at the end of the festival. So congrats to you as well for knowing what they needed to
yeah,
be there.
the last shows of the festival are my statement pieces, and Improv Chattanooga has been with us every year. I love Improv Chattanooga.
I wasn't trying
Every
to sneeze
iteration,
on
they
them.
always bring
I
something different.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was just trying to mention that the act before them was just like so like nothing you would
Oh
ever
my
seen
god.
before. Even if you have to do like incredibly solid improv right after that in order to even like keep people's attention.
And
So yeah,
they did. Improv Chattanooga,
yeah,
they were a good closer.
yeah.
And for me, the closer of the festival is my that to me is like a place of honor. And Improv Chattanooga is David Sarton and that whole bunch down there. They deserve a ton of accolades because they have had a few years of turmoil, and they have managed to survive, and they continue to produce very good shows time in and time out. And but they had to follow Big Bang Improv, and if I had known it was going to go so insane, I would have put Big Bang last and Improv Chattanooga before them. But yeah,
No,
it
I mean, how
was
could you? How could you?
it
You
was
can't predict
cool.
improv. You don't know. They've never done that show before. They were playing the energy. It went crazy.
It
And
went nuts.
bravo to them. Uh,
I
so
I got up to do to do the closeout between the closeout between Big Bang Improv and Improv Chattanooga, and I had it in my head what I was going to say, but the only thing I could do was laugh. So I was broken. Like, I got up, I was crying during Big Bang Improv set. It was so damn funny. Like, you
yeah,
just
exactly.
it was just so outrageous, and it just didn't stop building all the way to the end.
Exactly. And
Oh
where
my
the
gosh.
tables were turned. Yeah, so that is where we're going to end the show for tonight. Aaron, thank you so much for spending time with us and talk about the Secret City Improv Festival. Like you
Yeah,
described previously, it was an absolute blast. I have no idea what the next year's in store for me, but I'm hoping to come back next year, even as a guest, just to witness it again because it was really fun as an audience member. I think I was the only one, right, who attended the fest for the whole time. Because people seem surprised that there was like an audience member who was just there to see the shows, and had no like didn't know anyone who was performing or anything like that.
So we have a couple of people that they come every year. Gary Hall comes from Evansville, Indiana.
Nice.
Like I always look for Gary Hall. And he didn't come. He bought a ticket last year, but he wasn't able to make it.
Gotcha.
And you know, but Gary Hall always, if you saw Gary through the festival, he wore every festival shirt that we've done. He
Wow.
wore them all through the festival. So, it was really cool. Gary's such a good dude, and it just, I watch every year for Gary to buy his ticket to make sure that he's okay. Like, he was really late buying his ticket last year that I started looking for obituaries.
Oh
Like, did
no.
something happen to Gary?
Gotcha.
Whatever. And, it's like we have people that are not improvisers that have come to. Gary's come to, he's at least bought a ticket to every festival. And we have other people that they have been to 3 or 4 of the festivals. So
That's awesome.
I appreciate those people that come back. And I appreciate you hanging out and helping us out on Saturday night. That was really awesome. That's the earliest I have ever gotten out of that theater.
It
And
was really fun. If I am able to come next year, I definitely would want to be part of the crew of volunteers as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, Aaron, thank you so much. This is a Cox and Space behind the scenes podcast, the Secret Sunday episode. Here talking about the Secret City Improv Festival, and we have had a blast. You guys can check it out, secretcityimprov.festival.com. You can check us out at coxandspace.com, and we will catch you all in the next one. All right, bye.
all right, see ya. Thank you.
Bye.